Alright, my friends, if I hit all the right buttons, I am live again for another special episode of Talk Power BI. Now, this one is special for a few reasons. We are covering a really interesting topic today.
This one is special for a few reasons.
Hey, I'm gonna, for those who are dialed in, my Learn Power BI family members, just go on mute. Make sure we don't have anything going on over there. Perfect. And I'm gonna say hello to my friends online. Nice. So wow, wait, there's a long list already. Guy Johnson is here. I love seeing the regular faces. Loretta Sue, good to see you here. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Janik Ron Christensen from Copenhagen, Denmark. From John from Charlottesville, Virginia. Mohammed Hassan says hi from Somalia. That's really cool. I don't think I've had a guest from Somalia so far. John is from Idaho. Less exotic. No, it depends how you ask. Drew from Nashville, Tennessee, and Brijendra from Munich. So Brijendra, I don't know, you were based in Munich, or maybe you're traveling. Hello from Argentina. Jose says here from Venezuela. Anna says London calling. I am so glad to have all of you here. So you notice that I have a different setting. There's my bow tie somewhere, but yeah. So I'm in India right now. I'm visiting here for a month. I'm from India, so I'm in Delhi right now. My parents are here. I just feel so blessed to take this time out to spend a month with them, and my son is here as well. And for those who follow me on Instagram, now I'm not very particular about this. Somehow I shared the photos in Instagram stories from my India trip, so you caught some of that. But hey, this one is special. Mohammed says Avi will be in live in 10 minutes. Well, I'm live now, so hopefully Mohammed, things are working for you. How about let's just see, have somebody on YouTube, so not the folks who are dialed in, the class members. Good to have you all here, but somebody who's watching on YouTube can say that my audio video is good. I'm going to post as well. Oops. Audio video is good. Oh, it's a little slow. I'm going to wait for that. All right, guy says good. Yep, Loretta says it's good. All right. So yeah, I don't want to delay this one anymore because this one is a special topic. How to become a Power BI consultant. Now, my friends, I'm really hoping that this is a dialogue, not a monologue. I don't want to be here kind of talking as if I'm the expert, as if I know everything there is to know about this. So why don't we start with you telling me, and we did a pre-survey as well, and I do have the results for that. But I want to just ask the audience that's here right now. Folks, if you're on the GoToMeeting thing, you gotta go on mute because okay, otherwise if I mute you, you might not be able to unmute yourself. Not really sure how that works. All right. So back here, where was I? So how to become a Power BI consultant. I want this to be a dialogue. So I have the survey results. Thank you for those who answered these questions in the survey that we have sent out. I think it was on YouTube as well as Facebook. YouTube has this community feature on my channel, if you're not aware. That's where we posted the survey. So I want to ask the audience that's here, just get some answers. So type it in. Oh, no video and GoToMeeting. Yeah, I'll fix that. Yeah, it's not much of a video, but it'll still be something. So go ahead and type something in. I at least want to hear from some of you. Why do you want to become a Power BI consultant? And I'm going to wait for you, my friends. So I know there's a little bit of lag. So, but after that, go get your reach to your keyboard and okay, Arthur says there's no such thing as Excel consultants. Why would Power BI be any different? That's a good question. I like that. I'm going to copy that as well. But yeah, let's see. Mm, there is no. Sorry, I'm having some trouble copying. Hopefully, it'll work. John says, I work in the nonprofit sector and think I could provide a valuable service. Great, helping others. Matthew says, I've been doing PBI for my employer for years, but want to expand to other clients. Why not? Cool. My class is sending me some of the chat messages. I'll get to that. All right. So we heard from Arthur, John, and Matthew, and then my class had this to say. I want to help people understand the capabilities of what these tools can do, provide value to the client, to have a career doing something I love doing. Oh, that's Chris. Ross says helping clients help better understand their business. Want to use PBI as a tool in my toolbox for CFO consulting. I like that one. I'm going to write that one down. Use Power BI as a tool in my toolbox for CFO consulting, and that's David. So David seems like he's already in that role. He's already, I think it's called the virtual CFO, or maybe there's another term for it. I know there's something about that. Let's see, more responses on YouTube. So thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for, that there's some dialogue. So let's see. So folks, if you're joining on the phone, please go on mute unless you're talking to me. Then it's okay. All right. Let's see. Madeline. Sorry, I can only read your name. There are many requirements of self-service BI requirements in an organization. Mohammed says, I just got my EDX BBI certification, and I want to get a new position in Paris. So Mohammed, yeah, I'm not sure if you necessarily want to be a consultant or you want a Power BI job. I kind of split it in two. The next talk Power BI is scheduled with how to get a Power BI job in Power BI. So and as I've been thinking about this though on my India trip, I think there's a lot of overlap. The things that you need to do to be a Power BI consultant, they're not necessarily different than what you need to do to get a job. Manu says to get best out of agile visualization, especially in the world of BI data. Okay, Madali says you can call me Sashi. That's great. Make clients understand, explore more about their data. So I think I've heard enough. Thank you for all the input. I'm going to write one more thing here. Agile. So this was Manu. Maybe I'll go back to you. Agile visualization. Da, 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 da. Get the best out of that. So get the best out of agile visualization. All right, so now for the reveal. No, I'm going to go back to the survey. And actually, before that, so the survey was, I think, on Facebook, if you follow me there. And it was on, I'm going to point you to, if you're subscribed, you should get some notifications. And maybe we should have done more. Maybe we should have just reached out via email as well. Email is one of those things, a lot of people say email is dead. I would tend to disagree. Email is went alive, but I just wanted to, while I have you guys here, I want to show you that there's the community tab, which is a great hangout place. I mean, YouTube, all of these social platforms are kind of evolving, and I think we had done the survey here and on Facebook as well. So yeah, I mean, you can check this out. Of course, I'm trying to do some YouTube stories as well, just share with you a little bit of more of what's going on on my end. So okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab the responses that I summarized based on the survey, and I think this was Arthur. I think Arthur. There's no such thing as Excel consultant. Why Power BI? BI consultant. So that's a great question. So I'm going to separate these two. Oh, great. So let's see if there were similar themes. So when I was reading the responses of people who are on this call, let me switch back to the chat window again. I kind of hit it. Okay, Mohammed is saying, hey, if you need a Power BI consultant in Paris, I'm your man. Yeah, contact him. Uh, Terrific. Great. So some of the new responses. But what I heard on the call today, right now, there was a lot of this. I just want to help others. I want to help businesses. I want to help them solve their problems, and that's all good, right? I mean that's a noble goal. What can I say? I mean that by itself can be a lifelong motivation, right? If that's what motivates you, you can just pour your life into it. And I also heard at least one or two people saying, "I just want to do something that I love." It's fun. I want to do something that I love. I'm going to write that as well. I want to do something that I love. And this one did come up in the survey. I'm not sure it was here, but hey, this is I just want to develop more skills. I'm going to come to Arthur's question. Use Power BI and get the best. So your responses today were around the same thing. And oddly enough, I didn't hear too many people say this on the call right now. This was the number one thing that came up in the survey. But anyway, so what I wanted to do was to go through this one by one and see, or maybe discuss or give you my take on whether I think it's true or not, right? So let's start here, the freedom and flexibility thing, mobility, work, and all of that stuff. So I'm just going to take some random notes here, and sometimes people come to me and they say, I want to be my own boss. That's why I want to I want to be like you, Avi. I want to be a Power BI consultant, this, that, and so forth. Be my own boss. And I know that that is a complete lie. If you've been told that, or if you have been telling yourself that, then I want you to I'm gonna pop your bubble, right? So be my own boss. It doesn't work that way. In fact, what I would say is if you had a full-time job versus when you become a consultant, what you do is you trade one boss for many, you know. So now all of your clients are your bosses. You got to please them. You got to keep them happy. So that part is not quite true. What about this one though? I mean, freedom, flexibility, mobility to work. Well, I mean, I'm a living testament. I mean, look at me. All I need is an internet connection, and I can work from anywhere I want. And you've heard some amazing stories on my YouTube channel, if I can find that. Here we go. And by the way, there's a playlist of these. I'm always inspired by my students, and that's why I've loved to kind of interview some of the best ones and some of the ones which have the most inspiring stories. And if you go on my channel and look through the playlists, you would find this one, which is a collection of all the interviews. So you've heard from a lot of them, and one that comes to mind is Reed Havens. Oh my God! Every time I meet that guy, he's traveled to a new country. It's insane. I mean, yeah, Iceland, Australia, Japan, all of that. Hold on, guys, my phone is ringing. Okay, that was weird. And here I am, in India on a month-long vacation, and I've been doing everything that I was doing in US. It's kind of like a workcation, and I'm really pleased with that. So I think there's definitely some truth here. There's definitely some truth here. And when I look back, when I stepped into this role, and once I had lived this life for a long enough time, and then I looked back to my many years of being in a 9 to 5, and there's nothing wrong with that, and we can talk about that as well. It's not like one is better than the other. You got to make a choice for yourself, and we can talk about that as well. How to choose, right? I mean, if maybe you're confused, maybe you're not sure, like, I'm not sure. 9 to 5 has its advantage, or freelance or something like in between. So the way I see it when I look back is that I was always in the back seat of the car. Right? I was being driven around. Somebody else was at the steering wheel. And when things changed, there was a reorg. Oh, the car is going this way. When my boss changed, that happened a few times. Like, oh, the person left, he was fired. A new boss came, and oh, we're going that way, right? So I was in the back seat of the car. Now, once in a while, I would step out of the car. I would say, oh man, it's not working for me. I would step out of the car and step into a different car, which is when I would change my jobs. But still, I would go in the back seat. I never had the steering wheel, or at least that's what it felt to me when I look back. And now, for better or worse, my friends, I feel like I have the steering wheel in my hands. Now, I'll admit that there have been some really white knuckle moments where I was gripping that steering wheel so hard. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to crash. There's a ditch right there. So all of that scary stuff. But it comes to choice. It's not good or bad. I like this feeling. I like the feeling of having the steering wheel in my hands. So there is some truth to that. So we'll kind of mark it as true for now. Love to help others. That's definitely true. You have the opportunity to reach a wider audience. You don't have to go exactly my route. I mean, I'm trying to. My goal is to reach 1 million users, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to touch. I'm going to reach the 1,000 Power BI superheroes who are going to each reach 1,000 more. Simple, right? It's a simple goal, but yeah, hey, heck, it's audacious. I'm going for it, right? So that's my goal. You don't have to do that. Even if you help 4 or 5 clients, that's still helping a lot more. And of course, over time, you would help many more than that. So you do get that opportunity. Working with Power BI is fun. Well, again, it's not for everybody, but those who fall in love with it, as I did, it's magical. And there is this, oh gosh, I keep forgetting that movie. Oh man, you guys help me out. So that one has Russell Crowe, and he's supposed to be like a brilliant mathematician or something. Phenomena? No, something like that. Russell Crowe. Anyway, I'll describe that scene to you in that movie. A Beautiful Mind. So that's the movie. Oh gosh, that's such a beautiful movie. So yeah, so A Beautiful Mind, and he's like a mathematician, and he's called into a meeting where they show him lots of data, just numbers projected on the walls, and to say, hey, these are the coded transmission from blah some country, I don't know, Germany, Russia, something, and you tell us what this means. And you see the picture where he just stands there, and everything disappears for him, right? You get that tunnel vision where you've lost a sense of time. Does that happen to you when you're having fun, when you're doing something you really love? That's a great sign, right? Where yeah, you lose the sense of time. And yeah, and I love that feeling. I mean, I feel immersed when I'm working with a Power BI model. Oh my gosh, I see things flying at me. It's just beautiful. So I definitely enjoy that. So that one is valid. And this one is true as well. It's hard to replicate this experience in a full-time job because you're going to work with lots of different clients. You're going to be thrown a lot of different challenges at you. All right, cool. So apart from the first one, most of these, well, all of these, the rest of them, I marked it as true for now. But let me play the devil's advocate for a bit, all right? And I might need again kind of your interaction on this. So let's go back here. I'm gonna put the Beautiful Mind thing away. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Nice. So Danley has some has a very detailed response. I love that. Ooh, Brilliant by John Hill was, oh gosh, yeah, you guys are better than me at movies. I want to copy some of this. Let's see if I can pop out the chat. Hold on, guys, give me a second. Boop, boop, boop. Pop out chat. Okay. Okay, some good responses there, but where did that chat window go? I should be better at this by now, eh? All right, I'll come back to it later. But yeah, thanks for whoever is typing in messages. Oh gosh, what's going on here? Hold on, guys. I want to be able to see your chat. Ah, okay, it's finally working. All right, cool. So let me play the devil's advocate for a bit. Now, can you imagine or do you know a consultant, right, who doesn't have any of this? Can you imagine a consultant who doesn't have the freedom? And yeah, he still feels kind of chained to his desk. Can you imagine somebody who's not really excited about helping with others? You know, who you meet that person and he seems to be complaining about his clients. You know, gosh, they're paying him money, but he's like bitching and moaning about it. Huh? Think about that. Can you imagine a consultant, or maybe you've met one, know one, been one, who doesn't enjoy the work that they're doing? Can you imagine or know a consultant who has got pigeonholed into just one thing and they never moved on? Arthur says SAP consultants. Yeah, probably. All right. So you see what I'm doing here? These goals, these things have very little or maybe nothing to do with being a consultant, let alone be a Power BI consultant. And you know, this is one thing which really gets me. Believe me, I have thought about it long and hard. I reflected back about my decision to leave my job, and I'm like, oh, you know, I tried to process it. Now I can say, so I'll share a quick kind of story with you, and I share it every opportunity that I get. So there are two Avis. There's this Avi right here, right now, standing in front of you guys, right? I'm so excited about this when I'm standing right now. And there was this Avi back in, oh gosh, when was it? Seems like a lifetime ago now. 2014, I think. 2014 when I left Microsoft. There was that Avi, right? So that one is Avi 1, let's call him that. And this one is Avi 2, version 2.0, huh? Bigger and better. So what I often say is this: if this Avi 2.0, went back to the Avi 1.0 and just described absolutely truthfully everything that happened once I left my job. It's like, yep, you know, you're gonna leave your job in a week, and this is gonna happen next, and then this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. Avi 1.0 is gonna he's gonna chicken out. He's gonna say, I'm not up for this. That's not what I want. I don't want it. Nah. And gonna stay with his job. But this Avi 2.0, now I've gone through the same experiences that Avi 1.0 would have been totally afraid of. But I wouldn't trade it for anything else. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. I would go through the same hardships, the same challenges, the same overpowering fear, and we'll talk about that in the next part, what's stopping you. But I wouldn't trade it for anything else because of the journey I've been on. So when I think back, was it possible for me to go on the same journey of, well, essentially self-improvement while keeping a 9-to-5 job? And the answer that I get is, theoretically, it was absolutely possible. So let me put it another way. Is it not possible? And as soon as I say it, you'll know the answer. is it not possible to have all of these things while having a 9 to 5 job? Yes, it's absolutely possible, right? And more, right? So all of the journey that I took, self-improvement, one of the phrases that me and Michael Stanton shared, he's interviewed on my channel as well, is the inner journey is the only one worth taking. So that journey, I could have walked on that path while holding my 9 to 5 job. But I think the probability was low. This thing really pushes you forward. So, so I do think stepping into a consultant role gives you more of an opportunity for all of this. Because again, you have the steering wheel in your hands. All of this is still possible in 9 to 5, but oftentimes you don't have the steering wheel or not complete control. Maybe you're fighting over it with somebody else. All right, cool. So what is the key here? So what's the takeaway? What's the one thing that I want you to take away from this? Is the one thing that I learned from my business coaches. Begin with the end in mind. So that, of course, comes from Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits of Successful People. But yeah, it's one thing to read it. I had read the book many years ago, and oh yeah, it's all great stuff. But what gives you real transformation? When you live it, right? Not by reading a book. Reading a book never changed anybody, my friend. When you live it. So yeah, living that principle of begin with end in mind. So believe you me, I do this exercise where I draw my goal, and I like that, and I picked it up from one of my favorite books, What Color Is Your Parachute, and it talks about instead of writing your goals, which engages your analytical mind, you draw it, and you don't have to be good at drawing. Mine comes out with a lot of stick figures and stuff, but draw your goal that engages your kind of a deeper level, and I try to stay true to it. And you're going to have to do the same thing. Becoming a Power BI consultant does not guarantee anything else, any idea that you have that it's going to deliver, or right from the list here or any other list that you have. None of that is guaranteed unless you make sure of that. So whatever your goal is, I want you to kind of visualize it, draw it, write it down, if you will. So I want to be this, this, and this. I want to have the freedom and flexibility. You can be more specific if you want. Oh, I only want to work 20 hours a day or something like that. And be able to work from anywhere. And all of these things, right? And then also set some conditions of what do I not want to give up in trying to achieve that goal, All right, so cool. So I'm going to move on and talk about the other part. We're already at half an hour mark. But hopefully some of that made sense. So again, the one takeaway is you are going to craft your future, and just Power BI consultant doesn't guarantee anything. Let me cover some of these things. Use Power BI as a toolbox for CFO consulting. Indeed, I think I've heard that from a lot of students and the other folks I've talked to. Power BI becomes just one of those things, and of course, it's power packed. I mean, it's a very powerful tool to have in your arsenal. But so people ask me, Avi, I want to be like you. I want to be a Power BI consultant. So I think we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So if somebody says, why be a Power BI consultant? I say, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. That's the stupidest idea ever. I think nobody should become a Power BI consultant. So Arthur was spot on. So my best advice is, whatever you're doing, if it's sales, marketing, operations, finance, blah, something else, you combine that with Power BI, and man, you're going to be unstoppable. So imagine all of the marketing folks out there, all of the finance folks out there, how many of them really know Power BI, right? Not just with the fancy visuals, but understand the data modeling principles, be able to kind of clean shape transform data, know how to use a query editor, know how to define relationships, how they work. They know how to define measures, what's the right way of using measures, measures versus calculated column, all of this stuff, right? How many of them would know that? A very, very infinitesimally small percentage. Percentage wise, now, if you walk around Power BI communities, if you go to the Power BI Summit, it feels like, oh my God, the whole world is catching on to Power BI, which is kind of true. It is on fire. It's growing really fast. But still, if you look at the big picture, the percentage that's being touched is really, really small. So, man, you're going to have an amazing edge over anybody else. So that's the best way to move forward. Not be a Power BI consultant, but be, I don't know, Power BI, a finance consultant with Power BI skills, a CFO with virtual CFO with Power BI skills, right? So you augment that. That's the best approach. Now, again, for some of you, very, very small percentage, maybe this would make sense. Where, for example, for me, I'm not a specialist in anything. I mean, I've worked mostly with finance folks, but you throw anything at me, I can handle it. I've done enough reps that you throw any data set, any scenario at me, and I can help you. But yeah, so that life is for the very few, and that's not easy going either. So that's kind of tricky. All right, cool. Uh, so let me ask you folks this one. So if you do want to become a Power BI consultant, what's stopping you? So let's say in a feasible time frame, we're close to the end of the year. Maybe you want to kick off your year that way. January 2019, you want to be able to say that I am a Power BI consultant right now. I am. Right? So January, you want to make that a reality. Is there something that's gonna stop you, or is there something that's it's kind of kind of a thing in your head, a voice in your head? Yeah. What's your inner critic saying? Sometimes we have the dialogues in our head, right? So if you say, oh, what is it saying? Yeah, but yeah. What are your yeah buts? Yeah, let's go with that. Um, your yeah, but what is that voice? Tell me that. Um, yeah, but what? Oops. Oops. Let's go here. Yeah, but okay. Where to actually start or approach a company to help them? Where to start? How to find a company to help us? Yeah, that's a good one. Matthew, absolutely. So Matthew's saying, are you suggesting we niche down? In fact, I want you to go a step further, and I'm going to come back and talk about that. All right. So Guy Johnson had where to start, how to approach a company. What else? No project, kind of the same thing. No project. So folks on the phone, type in the chat. That worked great last time. I'll check that as well. Oh boy, everybody knew the movie but me, it seems. Michael says, finding clients, how to price my services, estimate time. That's great. Less, yeah, no project, less opportunity. That's a little weird. Less opportunity. I'm gonna wait for a few more. So go ahead and type it in. Come on, folks. You are there. I can see you. You know that? Well, not really. Talk to me. I said I want this to be a dialogue. I don't want to be the only one talking. All right. David says, how can I be efficient? I charge by the hour. How much do I charge to make it worth my time? So is certification necessary? Yeah, maybe I have that. Okay, I'm gonna wait for one more. One more, and I think I have it from my class. Let's see. Ooh, facing competition from Salesforce, says Manu. That's interesting. Yeah, landing projects. Cool. So I think we have enough now. So facing competitions, we got landing projects early on. I think that's Anita says, how can we showcase our skills in Power BI? How do we let them know that, hey, we can do this? We can do this for them. Oops. Oh gosh. Mm, mm, and all right. I wish I had post-it right now. I love kind of clustering things together. Well, let me go and get from the responses that we got from the survey. All right, now people don't often say it in this manner. They don't use these words, but there are a lot of variations for this. I'm not good enough. I'm not there yet. Not right now. In a month, when I get the certification, when this happens, when that happens. And if you scratch under the surface, it's just saying I'm not ready, or some version of that. And that is a big one. Let's see. Yeah, so Guy had kind of an indirect one over there. Mm, but you didn't really. So in the responses that I got, I didn't see a lot of that. So that's interesting. A little bit different than uh, the survey. Client awareness. John and Paul have some interesting ones. Client awareness. Let me write that down. Yeah, a lot of times. BI and price. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Price per report. Solution. Pricing. Yeah, that's a tricky one. All right, so and the other one we saw in the survey was don't know where to start, and that certainly we saw here. Guy Johnson, I think, said where to start. Don't know where to start, like don't have a plan, that kind of stuff. This one didn't come up here, but I'm sure some of you, now that I'm saying it, you're like, yeah, oh boy, how in the world am I ever gonna find time for this, right? I mean, um, I have my 9 to 5 right now, or something like that, or you're busy with something. You have your family commitments, and then I'm trying to learn Power BI and this whole consulting thing. I'm not sure how am I gonna find time, right? I need 48 hours in a day. And this was a really interesting one. I liked this one. It was like, oh gosh, it's changing so fast. How am I gonna be able to keep up? Um, Now, and then people were talking about licensing adoption issues. It is somewhat related to client awareness. Like sometimes people are not even aware of Power BI, but once they do, they have all these questions about kind of licensing, cloud, and all this stuff. And there was something about security. Is their data going to be secure? How do we share? So a lot of stuff there. Now, I do want to tackle each one of this, but I think this one is perhaps overarching. This one is almost all encompassing. Okay, it's late over here. Right, so this one is the big one, and I want to tackle this one. So when I was thinking about this, so I'm gonna share kind of two stories with you. One is that this topic, how to become a Power BI consultant. Man, I have thought about this long and hard. I've thought about it for so long. I don't know, 6 months, year, maybe more. Where I didn't just want to help people. I did just want to teach them DAX. What good is that? It's just DAX, big deal. Who cares? I wanted to help them push to the next level of success. Power BI is just a tool, right? But what I really wanted to do was to help them to leverage it for the next level of success. Now I have two kinds of students in my class. One are in this consulting mode. Either they are consultants or they want to be consultants. And the other one is just has a corporate job and they want to grow there. Uh, and I wanted to, and so really quickly, my story when I left Microsoft and started Power BI consulting, I built a six-figure Power BI consulting business in less than a year, and of course, then kind of left that and started my training, and then have helped many students do the same for themselves. And when I was within Microsoft, I had the best years of my career, well, by leveraging Power BI. So I had personally kind of achieved both and had helped others do the same, right? And of course, where did the thing go? Ooh. Oh yeah, the stories. I mean, you go through this and it's really amazing. I'll pick two. Or the first one, the very first. Well, no, Craig Tysall is first. His story is pretty amazing too. But the next one, which was Justina Bucks, and she sent me a note. So she was a mother of a newborn when she joined my course, and she went on to become a consultant, has worldwide clients, New York, London. She's doing amazing stuff that I don't know. I mean, I should probably bring her in and show us what she's doing in Power Apps and Power Flow and all. And she sent me a note saying, hey, Avi, I 4x'd my annual income. And I wrote back saying, hey, let me know when you 10x it, because I know it's going to happen. So that was that. And then there was, if I can find it, Pam Baker, who was oddly she's not. Oh yeah, her name is not here, but this one. So yeah, she said, Avi, I was an accountant for 15 years, kind of doing the same thing, and now I'm known world over inside my company. I mean, people approach me at meetings or these the big conferences they have. People are like, oh yeah, you're Pam. Hey, can you help us with this or tell us something about Power BI? How can my team use it? Right. So how do you go from kind of this anonymous cog in the wheel, cog in the machine, to being this worldwide phenomena inside your company? Right. So you see what I'm getting here, right? It's not about Power BI. There's this bigger thing, and I wanted to help. I deeply wanted to help people achieve that. My goal, in a way, was simple: to create more Justina and more Pams. But I started my online course 2 years ago. Have thought about this idea for so long, and I'm talking about it now. What do you think happened? What do you think kept me from it? My friends, it was the same thing that's keeping you. I'm trying to find the chat. I had the same doubts and excuses as maybe lurking in your mind, where, now's not the right time. Ooh, after I get this certification, after I get this rubber stamp from somebody else, I need somebody else to tell me that I'm good enough. Or, like, oh man, how can I do this? I mean, I look at there's such experts out there. Who am I compared to them? I had all of these doubts in my head. So when we did the survey and this came back, I'm like, oh my God. So my business/mindset coach, she asked me once that, Avi, why do you think you went through this struggle? And by the way, I should say she's really good. She's really good in teasing out kind of the truth within. And when she said it, the way she said it, I knew it right away. Why did I go through this agonizing struggle? Oh, my friends, it's not easy. This journey hasn't been easy. But I went through that so that I can help others, because we all have the same problems. Right? What's keeping me stuck is the same thing that's keeping you stuck. So that's one part. The other part, I'm going to make it really, really quick. So whatever your excuse is right now, and yes, I am going to call it an excuse of not doing it now, not doing it right now. And you know what? It's going to sound absolutely genuine. It's going to be, no, Avi, you don't get it. You don't get it. It's okay, man. I can read your mind, right? That's what's going on in your head. But I'm going to ask you this. You've heard from all these people on my channel, right? I mean, they're pretty amazing. Again, I draw my inspiration from this and all of the students in my class. They're pretty kick-ass amazing. Do you think that they did not have this dialogue in their head? Do you think they were not saying these things to themselves? Do you think they didn't start off making these excuses? Just after this thing, and then just you never get around that corner. They did. They all did. As I said, we all have the same problems. So what's the difference? What differentiates this from everybody else who's sitting at the edge of the water? Huh? Afraid to dip their toe in. It's simple, right? Action. They did it. What the heck do you need to be a Power BI consultant? You need to take that step. You need to just become one. There's nothing stopping you, and you can do it right now. So whatever is in your head, I want you to push that away. You're ready. Cool. So that stuff is big. So in my business coaching, they talk to us about mindset, and they say mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. So now this one applies whether you want to be a consultant or whether you want to work on a Power BI job. So I was talking to one of my students. She's looking for a consulting job, and she was talking to me, and she was saying, "Oh, Avi, but I don't know if I'm ready." And I said, "Well, when I think back to all the full-time jobs that I did, do you think I was ready? No, you kind of never are. When you do a full-time job, you always really, I mean, if you think about to all the job changes you made, you get there and then you figure it out. And consultants, I would admit, sometimes you have to posture like you're the expert because somehow the expectations from consultants are sometimes actually irrational, right? They expect you to hit the ground running. Well, that never actually happens. I mean, you can be really fast. I build models for my clients in a day sometimes, but until you get there, you're not gonna know. All right, so let's see if there are any other comments that came in. Paul was asking about data storage. Where do I store data? That's interesting. Companies with posted note reports. How to migrate data warehouse solutions that they can utilize Power BI. I like that one. Companies with post-it reports. How to migrate to a data warehouse solution so they can use Power BI. Oh boy, that's a loaded statement right there. All right, my friends. So don't know where to start. Clarity comes from action. Sorry, so I'm gonna be a little bit pithy. So yeah, you don't feel like you need the whole bloody plan. You need to take the first step. That's the most important. Agile BI. Power BI is Agile BI. Your approach towards consulting and even your job should be the same. Yeah, get that first client. Too busy? This one is tricky. I mean, I totally get it. We all have the same challenges. I mean, I'm doing the same balance as you are. Like, hey, how much time do I spend on work? Here I am, 10:30 in the night. Family is asleep. Doing this live call from India. So yeah, that I do empathize with that. What I would say is everyone has 24 hours in a day, right? So again, I'm so glad that I can use this example of these amazing people again and again. All of these, you've seen them on my channel. They didn't create 48-hour days. They didn't do that, right? They made time for it. So it's not about lack of time. We all have the same time. It's simply about priority. And again, I get it. It feels challenging, but in the end, you gotta prioritize yourself. That's what it comes down to. Do you prioritize yourself? One of my friends used this example. He said, if if you were like a company stock, would you invest in yourself? Damn right I would. Every single damn time, I would invest in myself. So you need to do the same, my friend. Rapid change in tech. I'm gonna save that one. So let's see. Power BI licensing, adoption, security issues. So before we go on to some other stuff, let's tackle this one. Where to start? So this whole plan thing, I said, throw that out the window. You don't need a plan. This one is tricky. So I'll share another quick story. Um, I was dating my girlfriend, then girlfriend, now wife, and I desperately needed a job. It's just so I could, ask her hand in marriage. And I was just fresh out of college, and she would tag along with me to every kind of job application and interview and all that, which was good and bad. I mean, it's yeah, it was really crushing for me to walk out of an interview where I had not done well, and kind of see her expectant face. Anyway, so one day we were in Delhi in a place called the Nehru Place, and it had a kind of a job office on the 13th floor there. And man, we're talking about Delhi summer. It gets hot. It gets really hot. Hey, folks on the phone, if you can go on mute, unless we're having you're talking to me. That was great. So we got there, and the elevator wasn't working. So boy, I mean, I was there. I had my resume printed out. This was way back. This was 1998. And so I said, well, let's just walk up. So we walk up 13 stories, and I stand in line. India, there's always a line. Get used to that. And once they finally kind of called me up, I just handed them my resume. That's all I was there for. Like, hey, they're a job agency. Like, yep, hey, here's my resume. Help me find a job. And they took one look at it, and then they looked at me and said, hey, do you have any experience? And I said, well, no, but, and they didn't even hear the rest of it. They just handed my resume back to me. I said, nope, sorry, we only take people who have experience. Now my girlfriend then, now wife, man, she was livid. I had to pull her back. So this is a challenge, like chicken and egg. I actually have some ideas on how to solve it. And a lot of them come from the book What Color Is Your Parachute? And yeah, so I would highly recommend reading that book. It's like a job hunting slash career guidebook slash life guidebook. It's really cool. But I do know that I think I can solve it for my students really easily. And one thing that has happened, so again, guys, I mean, I got to draw a line somewhere. So why do I give special treatment to my students versus the folks on YouTube? Um, now, there's this line in our business coaching, and then they say let me see if I can get it right. Transformation is in the transaction. There's something about putting some skin in the game, kind of paying up for something and signing up for something. It's also a sign that you are ready to invest in yourself. We talked about that earlier, right? Where, are you ready to invest in yourself? So all of the folks who have signed up for my course have shown that commitment, that they're ready. They want this. So of course, yeah, I mean, they get special love. So here's my plan to solve this for my students. Now, you have probably, if you followed me online, then you have seen my real Power BI project. So I've run 2 so far. I think we just ran the third one. Yeah, so Kimberly Marie, blah, 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 Lisa Randall, and then there was another one, I think. Oh, it's not really working. Real Power BI. So what's the idea behind Real Power BI? Gosh. Um, Real Power BI is simple. Water bottle here. I bring in a real business person with a real world business problem and solve it in a class setting. And we have tried a few different variations, then I'm going to keep tweaking it. Now, so far, both I ran it in two different ways, and both times it was pretty well. Let me just say it this way: Avi was, kind of I had a central role, and it was good because the students who participated, they got to see kind of how I tackle a problem, how I deal with the client, and so forth. But I thought we could do more. So what I'm going to do now, so this thing of Avi having a central role meant that we have only done about one real Power BI project a month or 2 months actually, in 2 months. I should be honest, right? That wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough. So what I'm going to do now is solicit these projects. I'm saying, hey, if you're a business, real business with a real business problem, and you're looking for a solution, and the criteria here is going to be that, well, your data should be either anonymized or public data sets, because we might make it public. We might share the solution with everybody. So, but I often get a lot of responses. So imagine if you get 10 kind of applicants. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one for myself, and I'll kind of lead that. So I'll still do it because, again, students have said they do learn a lot from that. And there's a mystery one. I'll talk about that, and that group gets the second pick, and then the rest can be assigned to whichever student is willing. It's like, hey, you want to work with the on this problem? Then we're going to pair them up. And now, of course, there's a lot of support in my course, in my program, so they would have some support, but I wouldn't be like I wouldn't play a central role. They would be them leading it. So, and again, this will take shape over time. If you've been with me, you've seen I love the online format because it lets you experiment, and every time we run it, we improve. And the advantage of this is that I'm hoping we can do multiple of these. So that's the way I'm hoping to solve this chicken and egg problem. Now, of course, right now in the current setting, this is going to be a free project, but still it's going to give you that kind of a breakthrough that you're not walking in cold. You can say, hey, I've worked with this on this solution. Ironically, when we ran Real Power BI and I had the students sign up, like, hey, who's interested? A lot of people who had corporate jobs and had no interest in Power BI consulting also signed up for this, and also some very veteran students that we have in my course who were really good at Power BI, who were already consulting, some of them, and I was kind of surprised. But it's clearly they got a lot of value out of that. So this one I know is bigger than it's nothing. It's not just limited to folks who want to be a Power BI consultant. This is just bigger. I know this is a good kind of learning crucible, if you will. Cool. So let's see if there are any other comments. Kevin Lepore, welcome to the call. Manage your time. So we did talk about that. Do not let time. Oh, great. So he's sharing some wisdom with us. Do not let time manage you. Prioritizing helps with that. Yeah, and again, I mean, I admit it's a challenge. I mean, I kind of struggle, and it's a daily challenge. It's not something you solve and like, oh, I'm done. Now I'm completely prioritized. It's something you do every single day. All right, my friends. So how are you doing on time? We're on an hour, and here it is 11:30 in the night, but that's good. So before that, I do have an announcement to make before I move on to the other topics, and I want to do it before I chicken out. All right, so this is going to be a forcing mechanism for me. So again, I shared with you guys that how I wanted to do this thing for a long time to really help people over there. So again, I think I have solved this at least for my students, and for the rest, you can follow a similar approach outlined in What Color Is Your Parachute. And really, there's nothing to becoming a Power BI consultant except to become a Power BI consultant. Go get your first project, and boom, you're a Power BI consultant. I know you got 1,000 responses to that in your head, but I'm telling you, that's what it takes. Yeah, oh boy, the things that ran in my head. So I have struggled with the same fears that you may have. Who am I to do this, right? But I'm not going to let that hold me back, because it's not about me, it's about the person that I can help. And I do believe that I have enough knowledge and experience, just my life experience, just what I've gone through. And each of you have that as well, your life experience. We all have that. But my unique blend of life experience, I think, would allow me to help somebody succeed in this, right? And again, not everybody. I'm not 100% sure exactly who the audience is going to be. So my friends, it's scary for me, but what I'm going to be doing in January is I'm launching a new program, and it's going to be called this is kind of the working title. I think I kind of like it, is Six-Figure Power BI Consultant. And I know we talked about that. It's not really about Power BI Consultant, but using Power BI with whatever you're doing, right? So Six-Figure Power BI Consultant. So again, today we talked about all the challenges around getting started, right? You gotta have Simon Sinek, one of my favorite speakers and author, says start with a why. So that is very important. You're gonna have that in your mind very clear, because this road may not always be easy. So if you don't have your why right, guess what? You're gonna give up. How do most businesses fail? They just give up. If you don't give up, guess what? You cannot fail, my friend. It's one of those corny cliche things. So the why is important in getting started, and put your fears aside. Get that first project, get you started. But I want to work with a few people. I'm thinking only maybe two or three. I'm not really sure. And I want to run a 3-month program with them, where I do a brain dump of everything that I know to become a successful Power BI consultant. Again, I've helped my students. I built myself a 6-figure Power BI consulting business in less than a year. So I want to package all that in, and this is beyond Power BI. So this is not really about Power BI. I'm not going to be teaching you like advanced Power BI tricks. Like, oh, if you know this trick, then you can be a 6-figure Power BI consultant. That, by the way, is total BS. All right, so, but yeah, there's something else. There's this magical recipe. To tell you the truth, I don't even exactly know what I'm going to teach here. I'll be totally candid with you, because I've never taught this. So this is going to be a beta, and for some of you who joined me in when I ran the beta for the online course, which is now nearing 500 students, it was a fun experience. And beta is actually pretty amazing, because for you, why? Because it's going to be a small group, I can guarantee you that, and it's going to have probably the most engagement and involvement from me than any other time I may offer this in the future, right? So because it's a beta, so I'm committed to make it work. I'm going to be right there with you making it work. And one thing I know I can help people with as well is that if you didn't hear that I kind of retired from Power BI consulting, so I'm not taking any new consulting roles. I have some existing engagements, so I can certainly kind of help with leads and stuff as well, but basically help people with here. And now, so this part is a bit scary for me, but you know what? I think it's, again, we talked about if I were a company stock, would I invest in myself? So the 6-figure Power BI consultant 3-month program beta small group. I don't really know how many I'm gonna select, but it's gonna be small group for sure, and it's gonna be based on an application, and it's coming in January 2019. And my friends, the price tag is gonna be $19.95. So I said all of that to hold myself accountable. I've thought about this for so long. I know I can help people, but I know that I'm letting my fear hold me back. I'm not going to do that anymore because, again, I have made this about me. Like, oh, am I good enough? Can I do it? You know, who am I to be charging this much and so forth? And I want to throw that away and I want to focus on the person that I can help. And for me, that's a little bit easier. When I do start thinking that way, that's so much easier because then I'm thinking about these people. Then I'm thinking about Justina. Then I'm thinking about Bam. I'm like, oh gosh, do I want to help another Justina? Heck yeah, I want to do it. I'll walk over coals to help another Justina. Oops, mosquito. We have mosquitoes over here. Terrific. So, yeah, January. There's an application. None of it is live for me. Frankly, as I said, it's to hold myself accountable so that I don't chicken out of this. This is real. This is happening. I'm going to run it. And if this sounds like something of interest to you, then look out for some announcements in January. All right, cool. So let's come back. And what I'm going to say is why don't you guys? There are a lot of things here. So you tell me which one. Just throw something at me in the comments or over the phone. I would love to talk to some of you as well. So yeah, so yeah, I have Amdi, Chris, David, Manu, Michael, Neeraj, Rochelle, Ross, and Tom. I want to talk to some of you too, and I would like to talk about if there are other items which we didn't cover. And there's a lot of things that came up, pricing and so forth, but I don't want to pick a topic randomly. I want to see if you can guide me. What is YouTube saying? So again, if you're on the phone, just unmute yourself and let's talk. So YouTube, come on, my friends. Talk to me, help me help you. So you tell me what do you think is holding you back, which you would like to discuss that more. Okay, do we have somebody on the phone?
Yeah, hey, obvious Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, my thought to all this, I ran a business for quite a while, and it's funny how all these things are always the same. It's just human life, quite frankly.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing I think, what I think about, which is really out there, but a lot of people don't know it, is the nucleus of help that you have through your, I'll call it, organization. When, as you're getting these things, and then you said, oh shoot, I don't know how to do something, then you'd have a path back to get some help, whether that's even pay for help or free help or whatever it is. See, that's a lot of the fear, I believe, right there.
So say that again to me. So you're saying the fear is what
yeah, the main thing is, and I've, like I said, at one time I had 10 employees and all this, so I do speak from some base. 10 years.
Yeah.
So in this techie world, and then I was an AIX consultant for a while, for computer performance stuff. And now with BI, I think it's real easy in all this BI stuff to.
And now with BI, I think it's real easy.
Wow, that's ugly.
Yeah. Okay, I think we got that taken care of. Cool. So the fear is that they're not going to be able to get the help that they need.
Well, no, I'd say the fear would be you could reduce fear by having
I see what you're saying, yeah.
other assets available. There's a good way to put it. See? Because there's almost everyone can be hit with something in BI where it doesn't readily make sense how you get to where you need to go.
Oh, absolutely. I'm thinking of
So therefore, even if you're good at one thing, all of a sudden the question changes just a little bit. It's like, oh wow, why is this not working? And it's one thing when you're doing it for yourself, and I can screw around and waste a bunch of time and go figure it out. It's another when I'm sort of on the clock at a consultant's gig then I need to have a solution fairly quickly.
Yeah, that's right. It does become challenging. So I think there.
So that would be the, for me, that would be, at least 50% insurance, if you will.
Yeah. So so that's good. I wanna kind of pry it into two parts though. One is the technical help, and as Tom said, I mean you can get paid help. I mean you can just have an expert on call and say, hey, if I get stuck, I'm gonna pay you to just help me with something with my client, and of course you can and of course we do that in our course as well. We do kind of 2 calls a month, and I call them group consulting calls, where essentially we're doing consulting work for them, and they can be that can be to help their clients, but we just do it in a group setting. So yeah, find some scenario where you can get kind of hands-on technical help, not the anonymous forum where you post and you get kind of these random responses. And of course we have our student community as well. And again, I'm just using those as examples. You can find your own version of that, so that helps. But there's another one which is so Tom kind of alluded to it, but I think that's perhaps equally important, is to just have, I don't know how to put it, but possibly like-minded people, others who are in the same boat, who would kind of cheer for you, who would egg you on, pick you up when you're down, and just keep you going. And for me, I can say that running my own business, building my own business, the entrepreneurs community that I'm part of has been the single best thing. I wouldn't have, frankly, gotten off the starting blocks without them. And it's a pretty amazing community. I've been part of that community from day one, and it's got such amazing people at the last, and we have events as well, live events where we meet up. I met somebody who gave me her business card, and it said it said CPA, and she had a picture holding a kayak. And then when I read the details and asked her about it, she was a CPA only for companies who operate around lakes and rent out like kayaks and boats. So that was pretty crazy. So yeah, you get all sorts of entrepreneurs and freelancers and so forth in that community, and that has been a huge help for me. So that can be a big factor. All right, cool. Let's see. Tom, thanks for sharing that. Joel is saying not having a tech background is a challenge. Let's talk about that. Jean, hello from San Francisco. Zoli says hi from Romania. Man, I really like that one. So Joel is saying not having a tech background. So Joel, if you can share, what background do you have? So I have this saying, which I have become famous for in my business community, the entrepreneur community that I mentioned, that I say it again and again because I have experienced that myself. And when I see others struggling, I just remind them of this. All right, so I'm going to write it out, and let's see if I can do it right. Wow, I'm so proud of myself. No typos. Your strengths are your weaknesses. Maybe there is a grammatical error. Your weaknesses are your strengths. So let's see. So let's. I didn't hear back from Joel. Let's make up a background for Joel. Let's say that he has a business background. I've been kind of on the business side. I've been running the business, so I know everything about marketing, but I don't know anything about tech. All right? Oh boy, this is going to be so easy. So you can think of that as a weakness. And here's the thing: we talked about mindset at the beginning. What you think becomes your reality. It's one of those crazy, corny things. And again, 2 years ago, before I had started my own business, if I would have heard that, I'm like, what? Get out of here, right? But it's so true. It all starts with the mindset. If you think that way, it'll always be that way. If you think this is your weakness, it'll always be that way. Why? Because it's going to be somewhere in your mind, or the back of your mind. And guess what's going to happen when you're speaking with a potential client or somebody else? it's just gonna, just bubble up, without you being conscious or aware of it at all. You will say something which will be self-deprecating. You'll be like, oh yeah, yeah, I've been working with Power BI, but I'm not a techie. I'm just meddling with it. And yeah, if you catch yourself saying any bullshit like that, I want you to get good at detecting that. Anything which is kind of self-effacing, where you're kind of undermining what you've done and what you know. Just stop. Don't do any of that. All right. So if you think it's a weakness, it's going to be. But how can a weakness become a strength? Man, every time this has happened with me in life, it's blown me away. It's so true. So let's see if I can come up with a few examples. Hopefully I can remember. But in this one, well, if your business, you have a business background, so oh gosh, finance MBA, working in sales, I couldn't, if I had all the power in the world and I wanted to create the perfect person to become a Power BI professional, forget about consultant or full-time job, doesn't matter. I couldn't dream up of somebody better than this. I mean, this is like finance and Power BI is a perfect combination anyway. So great. So so this one, so Joel, I swear guys, this wasn't planted, but Joel threw me a softball. This is so easy. This is so easy. So we back earlier we talked about that nobody should become a Power BI consultant, right? Nobody. Well, okay, very, very few. I am a Power BI consultant. I'm a generalist. Everybody else should be specific, right? That I do Power BI for finance folks or marketing folks or sales or this specific tool even. Oh, if you're using QuickBooks and want to use Power BI to create awesome reports off of QuickBooks, then I'm your guy, right? So, and we'll talk about that. And the funny thing is, the more niche you can get, generally the better it is. So Power BI consultant is a bad idea anyway, and you have the perfect recipe, so you can combine it with something like that, finance, sales, and so forth. So that's the intent anyway. And again, if you think of this as your strength, it's going to become your strength. So let's say, so if I'm Joel, then I would say that I'm not a techie. I'm not a techie, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Why? Because most techies don't have a bloody clue. Yeah, that's true. You go to them, and what do they make you do? They write down this requirements document, and and in it there's always this miscommunication of like what I said, what I meant versus what was written down, and how they interpreted it. All of that BS. Oh gosh, and people know how that works. That's painful. So that's what a techie does, but I am not a techie, right? I'm not going to put you through that. That's what a techie does. And then a techie builds a solution based on that document and comes back to you and tells you, here is what you need. And then you say to them, well, no, that's not what I need. That's not what I asked for. That's not what I meant. And then they show you the requirements document. That's what a techie does. And I'm not a techie. That's why I'm the right person for you. I'm a business person. I've lived this life. I know exactly what you need. You wouldn't have to. I mean, I understand. I've lived this life. I would know your requirements, and I would work with you closely to kind of help you with Power BI. I can help you make better, but I'm not a techie. So again, I lost it a little bit in the end, but you can see how you can just craft an argument. And it is not, by the way, a phony argument. All of this is true. And you have to believe that it is true. And when that happens, it will become true and apparent to your client or your customers as well. So your weaknesses are your strengths. So believe me, guys, I have worked with much worse than this. Joel kind of gave me a softball, but I mean, in our business, they talk about that. Oh, I'm completely new, and I don't have any following. Like so obviously now I have close to I just crossed 17,000 subscribers on YouTube. So people come and they say, Avi, how can I do this? I don't have a following on social media. Nobody knows me. And I say, make that your strength. Oh, actually, now I do remember a case. One of my students was talking to me about this, and he said, Avi, I have never done it, and how do I go to them? What do I say? And I told the person that make that your strength. You say, hey, I don't have any clients right now. But that means you're going to be my #1 client. You're going to get all my attention. And you're my first client, and I'll be truthful, I'll be candid with you, my friend. I want you to write a glowing review for me on LinkedIn when we're done. And that is why I'm going to leave no stone unturned to make sure that the solution that I provide you is top notch. And again, you're not going to convince everybody, but you're making your weakness your strength. So the fact that you've never had any clients, you've never done it before, you're making that your strength. So yeah, it doesn't matter how bad it is in your head, like, oh, I can't do this because of this. You can turn your weaknesses into your strength. All right, Sarah says, hello from Austin, Texas. Awesome, folks. So, hey, if you're joining now, make sure to catch the replay. We covered a lot of good ground, and we're going to hang on for a little bit more. It's getting close to midnight here now, but I want to answer a few more questions. Let's see. So, on the phone, if you have any specific questions, so Manu's asking a technical question: import versus Directquery, and yeah, well, I'll save it. I want to answer just a few more here about the topic for today, but we'll talk about that. And hey, if you have any generic questions about Power BI, maybe we'll open that up too as well. All right, so Abhishek is saying, which skill will go hand in hand with Power BI, SQL, any other database tool? I missed the beginning of the video. Okay, cool. So let's talk about what skills do you need? And I hear this quite a bit. So I know Abhishek isn't quite asking it that way, but it's possible that it's playing in your heads in the same way that, oh, I mean, how, the day I know Power BI plus something, then I'm ready for it. And frankly, I've heard a long list of this. Oh, I gotta know, not SharePoint, or maybe I need SQL, or maybe I need R, and maybe I need blah blah blah, and all of that stuff. There's a long list that I hear. Like, different people say different things. Like, oh yeah, I mean, I know Power BI, but I'm looking to learn this, and when that happens, then I'm gonna do this. I'm like, bullshit. None of that matters. Power BI is kind of my hammer. You know what to say, that if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. That's me. I do know other tools a little bit, but none of that is required. People tell me that, oh, what do I need to learn Power BI? You don't need anything except the opportunity. I mean, you have to have worked with data. You have to have lived that life in data. That's the only requirement. You don't need years of Excel experience or SQL or anything else. So you don't need that to become a Power BI consultant. Now, of course, to continue your journey on, you may pick up a tool or two. R is, it's a great one. SQL is great. I mean, so you can augment that, but none of that is required, definitely, to get started. So I want to make that clear. So which tools are good? SQL, you can't go wrong with SQL. So the scenario that I typically use SQL is when I'm connecting to a SQL data store, and somehow I'm not able to do the transformation in the query editor because of two reasons. One, it's unusually complex. Like, it's just totally crazy to do it in the query editor. It's really, really hard, but really easy in SQL. Then sometimes I would just do it in SQL. The other scenario is where it's extremely time taking in the query editor, where if I try to do it in the query editor, it just takes a really long time. So again, you see how remote that is. I mean, that's like 0.1% of the work that I do. For 99.9%, if I did the math right, yeah, I don't need SQL, because SQL I just connect using query editor and we're good. So so it's pretty small, but if you end up with working with a lot of SQL sources, that might help. So yeah, so I don't think you need anything else. Frankly, it would depend. So I would give you the lawyer's answer. Yeah, Gorang, yeah, sorry about that. I messed up the time. I'm in India as well right now, so it's midnight for me as well. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to start 3 hours later. Any of the data, which skill? Gosh, I'm so in love with Power BI. I really think that there is so much to learn. So if you have if you think that you're competent in Power BI, by that, of course, I'm talking about the data modeling. And what is data modeling? There are two aspects to it. The query editor, which is the kitchen of Power BI, that's where you clean, shape, and transform data, and you craft that model. And then the other part is that once your model is ready, you define the relationships and you define the measures. Measures is where the magic is. That's DAX for you, and that's where you kind of define the business logic, the KPIs for your company, and that's just mind-blowingly awesome. That's where you peel the onion. That's where you ask the question. That's where you say that, ooh, oh, this is great, you know, the V1 of your report, but what about this, what about that? And you ask 1,000 different questions and you chase those threads. Most of that happens in DAX. Visualization is just pretty much you drag and drop that measure and you visualize in a specific way. For visualization, my Bible is Stephen Few, and yeah, so don't worry too much about visualization. But if you have all of that down, only then would I really look at another tool. All right, terrific. Let's take so is it midnight? 3 minutes to midnight. So let's do last one, my friends. And hey, just do again, keep myself honest. Believe me, it's a little bit scary, but it's not about believing in me even. It's about believing in you, in that person. Again, I make it really easy when I think about Justina and Pam and all of these other amazing folks you've seen on my channel, is that they are out there and I can help them. Who am I not to help them? And so again, when I'm in that fear mode, I'm like, oh, who am I to do this, right? I mean, there are far more successful Power BI consultants than me. What do I know, right? But who am I not to help the person who's ready and kind of ready for that journey? So I'm going to reiterate my offer. And again, there's no sign up or anything right now. I just wanted to let you know and keep myself accountable. Where did that thing go? So in January 2019, we're going to open up a beta program. I'm calling it the 6-figure Power BI consultant. So this is, if you are just getting started, we'll kind of start there. We'll talk about getting your first consulting gig, but then I'll try to teach you everything to kind of scale it to 6 figures. So of course, that's 100K and above. It could be 999K. Hey, I wouldn't complain if you break that marquee as well. Go to 7 figures. That's all good. But yeah, essentially get to that level. And it's going to be $19.95. And I did see a comment earlier about the pricing in India. That has been a challenge. Frankly, I face the same with my course as well. Unfortunately, right now, I'm not able to offer a different pricing. Now, for my course, I know how I have helped it. So the course is generally priced, is as well on the US-based pricing. But the way we have helped people in other countries is we run a Power BI challenge and we give away seats to our program. So I'm going to be doing more and more of that. So for joining my course, you would have opportunities to just win a seat, and of course that's going to be free if you win that. The last winner was from Guatemala. And the one before that, I think, from Mexico. But everybody's going to have the opportunity for that. So maybe we will also run something like that for this. Again, I want to stabilize this program, and once it's like set and running, then maybe we'll have some opportunity for qualified candidates who are not able to pay this but still want to participate, and they're kind of qualify for that. So. And for now, again, it's a beta, and I'll be totally candid. I don't really know what I'm going to teach, but since it's a beta, I know that I'm gonna put everything in it. Right? So you see what I'm doing. I'm doing exactly what I taught you. Make your weakness your strength. I mean, beta sounds like a lame thing, and I can make it sound lame, but I know it's going to be freaking awesome because I've done this before. The online program that is there right now, it started off as a beta, and I'll tell you, and my students will tell you, if you ask the beta students, that was the best class. That was the best class because, yeah, there was so much involvement. We were like this through that class, right? So this is going to be like that as well. This is going to be the most involvement I'll ever have in this program. I'm going to be invested in your success. And I also want to say that this is not like I'm not giving you like a magic trick or something. You know, it's gonna take work. It's gonna take work on your part. I can show you the way. You're gonna have to walk on this path, and that's why this is an application based. Because I want to see if you're ready. You're not just, oh yeah, Avi, you know, tell me that trick. You know, tell me what your trick is to do this in less than 12 months. So that's that. And what else? I felt like I wanted to say one more thing about this. Oh yeah, the name. So the name, I kind of love and hate this name. I'll admit, and that's why it's a beta. The part that doesn't like the name, or I have the resistance, is that 6 figures. So that of course refers to greater than 100,000 and 100,000 plus. And when I first considered this, I don't know how I got this idea. Maybe somebody else suggested it. I'm like, no. I don't want to make it about money, because it's not about money. Because I do hear people talk about this, that I want to get to, you know, some X goal, right? 100, 200, 300,000, doesn't even matter, right? Some goal. But I know that the goal isn't about that, because then I ask them, and what are you going to do then, right? When you do have $300,000, what are you going to do then, right? I mean, you have the money, now what? And then they give me the real answer. And then they say, oh, then I'm going to spend more time with my family. Then I'm going to have blah, 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 and X, Y, Z. So it's that matters. But that answer is different for everybody. Anybody that I talk to, they have like a different thing in mind. That, oh, when you know, all of this lines up, then I can do this. So I can't name it like, oh, you know, spend more time with your family / travel more / see the world / you know, Power BI consultant. So 6 figure is symbolic. It's a stand-in for what you really want in life and what is truly important. And I hope you realize that. That's what's truly important. That's in the next layer, not the money, my friend. All right, I'm going to share one other thing with you. Do you know? That's a good question, Sherry. So Sherry's asking, do you know what qualifications you're looking for? I'll give you the honest answer. I don't. I know that I'm gonna the application survey, whatever process, I wanna filter out to folks who are frankly as willing to bring to the table as much as I'm gonna bring to the table for this one, because I know I'm gonna be fully invested in the success of these people. So yeah, they got to be ready for that as well. All right, so I'm gonna end with one final thing. Now I talked about the whole name thing, 6 figure and all that stuff. One thing I realized is that we often live the deferred life plan. And actually, I will answer the import versus direct query before we go. Deferred life plan. So when so I'm from India. I'm visiting India right now, here with my parents for a month. I feel blessed to be able to spend this time with them. And I went to the United States in March 1999. And I was on a work visa. And you know, it was this whole thing, and then they applied for my green card, and I was waiting for my green card, and during that whole time, I think it took me like 5-6 years to get my green card. All this time, there were so many things in life where I would say, oh, we're going to do that once I have the green card. I can't do that now. So big decisions like buying a home. So, oh, you know, we don't have the stability, you know, if this thing doesn't work out, you know, yeah, we're going to buy a home later. But it filtered down, and it wasn't rational, but we kind of do this thing. I don't know why we do it, but it filtered down to other areas. For example, we were living in New York, and I wanted to visit the Niagara Falls. But I read in my research that Niagara Falls is best seen from the Canadian side, which I have been there, and that is absolutely true. But I said to myself, oh man, if I go now, I'm going to have to apply for a Canadian visa. You know what? I'm just going to wait for my green card. So you see what's going on there, right? It's deferred life plan. When this happens, then I'm going to do this. Then this will happen. And the last one, I'm slightly embarrassed to admit, but I wouldn't let my wife buy nightstands. Such a weird, random thing. And of course, now it feels idiotic, but I'm like, no, no, we might have to move again, and the more furniture we have, the more stuff we can have to move, and I'm not really stable right now, and I might transfer my visa, this, that, blah, 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 all of that stuff. So we do this thing a lot, right? So, so if you do have things tied to money, and money is one of those messed up topics, it just we always have so much baggage around that. But if you have things in your life where it's like when I'm earning that much, then I'm gonna spend more time, then I'm gonna travel more, then I'm gonna see the world. My friend, there is nothing wrong with earning more money, and that's a little hard for me to say. Believe me, I mean, I kind of have my own baggage around it, so I'm saying that to myself as much as you. But it's absolutely wrong to associate this if-then statement and live this deferred life plan. And man, my sincere advice is just stop doing that. You don't need to. You don't need to earn more to spend more time with your family. You don't need to earn more money to travel more. Just look around. Just look at other examples. Are there people who are earning the same as you or less, maybe much less, who travel more? Are there people who see the world? Are there people who do other goals that are not earning as much? And you would find out that all of those things are possible. So I want you to disconnect those two things. So yeah, we're gonna help you become successful and achieve this. And yeah, money does bring other things in life and so forth, but doesn't mean you have to live the deferred life plan. All right, my friends. So let's. I did promise I'm going to talk about import versus direct query. Let's see if Manu is still on. Yep, still on. Hey, oh boy, Manu had to leave. All right. Well, hopefully you can catch it in the replay. So import versus direct query is really simple. Import. That's it. No, just kidding. Well, import is my first choice. So what I'm talking about here is usually when you're working on specific data sources, typically let's say SQL Server, you have an option of you can import the data, bring it inside your Power BI model, or you can do a direct query where the data isn't really brought into your model. It's just going back to that SQL Server every time you need a query. Import should be your default mode. That means if you are using direct query, then you better be able to explain to me like why the heck. I mean, if I see you using direct query, I'll ask you why are you using direct query? Explain it to me. Why did you not use import? And the typical explanations could be extremely large data sets. And man, when I'm talking large data sets, the biggest data sets that I've worked with was 1 terabyte. Now Power BI is great with compression, so this was compressed to 50 gigabytes. So I mean, don't give me like a 5 gigabyte something, or don't give me like 100 million rows. That's not a large data set. We're talking bigger, much bigger than that. So if it's extremely large, then you can't just bring that into direct query. So that one can explain direct query. What is the other one? You need live data. So I don't know why it's not doing data. Live data. And when this happens, when my client asks for this, they say, "Oh, we need to be live." I need, I really push hard on them because often they're happy with near real time. So they don't want real time. Let's change that to real time data. Right? So Directquery does give you real-time data, but often they're happy with near real-time. So I don't know. I mean, 15-minute refreshes. Sometimes that makes them happy. So if they are happy with near real-time, then I would just do import. Now, of course, some things have changed. There is a composite model, and there are quite a few videos. Oops, come on! I'm trying to collapse this thing. Oh gosh, come on. Oh, forget it. There is, why is it? A composite model lets you do both. lets you combine. There's some elements which are going to be direct query, there's some elements going to be import. So kind of the best of both worlds. This I think is probably the most exciting feature that's been introduced in Power BI. I love it. So more on that on my channel. All right, my friends. So how will the next Friday's session will be different? So next Friday is like how to get to a Power BI job. So again, my goal is to help people use Power BI to get to the next level. So the two kinds of students that I have in my class are one set either has or wants a corporate job, 9 to 5, and the other set either already is a consultant and want to kind of just grow more in the Power BI side, or have a 9 to 5 right now but want to become a consultant, right? So there are these two worlds, and the one that I'm taking on in a big way for now in 2019 is the Power BI consultant. So that's what's coming next in my life, right? So that's what I've been working on. But over time, I possibly envision it to evolve to be a generic program. So it's instead of 6-figure Power BI consultant, it's going to be 6-figure Power BI professional. And I'm going to talk about how can you be more successful in your career, whether you have a 9 to 5 job or whether you're a freelance consultant. Now, so I'm glad Arthur, you asked about this, because as I've been thinking about it, there's quite a bit of overlap. The things that you need to do to become a Power BI consultant, a lot of them are phenomenal for you, really beneficial for you for your career as well, even if you hold a 9 to 5 job. So, but the next session, next Friday, is going to be really specific. It's not going to be like this session. It's it's not going to be like how to be more successful in your Power BI corporate job. It's not going to be that. It's to how to get your really how to get your first Power BI job. So either you're a student and you just want to looking for your first job, or you have a job but it's nothing to do with Power BI. You're doing whatever you're doing and now you've learned Power BI or want to learn it, but then you want to know how do I land then my first Power BI job. So it's a lot more focused. How to get your first. Maybe I should change the title, because I think the title right now is how to get a Power BI job. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'll make sure I change it to how to get your first Power BI job. So that's what I'm going to talk about, strategies around that. And again, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of overlap between that and how to get your first Power BI consulting gig. But I'm not going to be speaking from that lens. I'm going to be speaking from the lens of somebody who's looking for a job. Woohoo! What is it? It's past midnight right now. I want to thank every one of you to hang out with me, to be so responsive, and be talking to me. As I said, I didn't want this to be a monologue. I wanted this to be a discussion, and I also want to thank all of the Learn Power BI family students who joined on the phone and were chatting with me and talking with me. So I'll see you next time. Until then, power on, my friends. If I can figure out how to turn it off.